It's always showtime at BetMGM Sports. You can make your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 when you sign up with the code Sherdog. Don't let another game day go by without having the ultimate sports betting app in the palm of your hand. Discover non-stop excitement with BetMGM's state-of-the-art technology and dozens of betting options, including live wagers, props, parlays, and much more. No matter what your favourite sport is or how you like to wager, find out why there's nothing like getting a W at the king of sportsbooks. Use the code Sherdog and make your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Arizona, Colorado, Washington, D.C., Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, or Wyoming only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire in 7 days from issuance. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona, 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado, Washington, D.C., Louisiana, Nevada, Wyoming, and Virginia. Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. In Michigan, 1-800-GAMBLER. In Illinois, Indiana, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Tennessee, call the Red Line at 800-889-9789. In Mississippi, call 1-888-777-9696. Sports betting is void where prohibited. Promotional offers not available in Nevada. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com. My name is Sean Sheehan, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Dean Barry on the show. Dean, I know it's been a tough couple of weeks here. I appreciate the time. And how are you today? How are you keeping?
Yeah, no, it's good. As I said, enough time has passed for me, and kind of thought it'd be nice to share my side of the story now. Do you know what I mean? Have a chat about it.
Indeed. I suppose, we were kind of chatting, obviously, a bit offline before we started, and, the whole situation has been a very kind of crazy situation from start to finish. And I suppose, being obviously Irish and being around the scene, I've, seen you before you came, obviously, to the UFC, into people's minds, not just that one fight. And I feel for like a lot of people, maybe the American crew, they saw that one fight, didn't realise what happened before it, and maybe kind of jumped to conclusions in certain ways. I want to kind of go back to the start if I can. And I just want to ask you how you got to the UFC, because, we see guys today with a record similar to yours getting to the UFC through the Contender Series and different things. So it's not like it was before, someone who has had 4 or 5 fights wouldn't have got to the UFC in a million years, say 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but now it's very, very regular. But I know a lot of people were kind of shocked when you got to the UFC. You probably were yourself. Can you just tell us how that came about and how you ended up getting with the UFC?
Basically, they were onto my management team about, I think it was only my 3rd fight. That time I went out and beat Corey. I put on a very good fight, and they said they're very interested in me. They'd like to see me fight again. Then I went out and I fought Abdullah, and I knocked him out, and he had a good record, and they just called and said they wanted to take me. And that's one thing, like I've done a lot of fucking research and stuff like that as well. Like people think, it's because of his management, it's good management and stuff. Look at the amount of Irish fighters who are signed to top management teams that are actually bigger than my manager. And like they never got signed, so like I'm like, why are everyone trying to blame on my manager and say, he pushed me. The call came and we took the call. The UFC wanted to sign me. It wasn't like me and my manager made this bleeding, miracle happen. Like they reached out and said they really liked me and really liked my fighting style and think I'd do very well. So they wanted to sign me, and then they said he's very little fights, but we want to get him in. So the only option I have right now, nobody could fight Mike because they had too many fights. They couldn't sanction it in Nevada apparently. So they said if Dean fights Mike, it will get him the extra kind of fight he needs to get sanctioned better to fight more guys, because it's gone really strict now apparently. So this is the way in for him, but it has to be at 170. And then obviously he said, yeah, no problem. Do you know what I mean? And then that's kind of just what happened, bro. And then when I couldn't get the visa, they said, go back and get the visa and we'll take you straight in again. And then I got the visa. I took another fight on Titan. I had like fucking 4 or 5 opponent changes. You know how that went. And then in January, they had said, actually, we'd like to see him just fight again before we take him in. And I was like, right, fair enough. And then 2 days later, they called me manager and said, we want to take him now. So you can imagine for me what I must have been going through, like just this roller coaster of emotions up and down constantly. And it was an awkward one for me from the start, because I had originally said, like, I'd love to fight somebody in 55. Like, I didn't want to fight Mike because it played out exactly fucking how everyone thought it would be. Like, the chap's a clown. He turned it into a circus act. Like, obviously I made mistakes, bro. Like, I was feeling fatigued and I was throwing wildly, and there was a lot happened before that fight that I can talk about on it now, since the fight has passed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So a lot happened before, and you could see it in me when I was fighting. I just wasn't me. I didn't turn up. I don't know what the fuck was going on with me.
I will get more to the fight in a second, but I think it's just for people to kind of know the whole, everything you described there, you know, it started out in Fight Island, didn't it, in terms of getting signed. So this has been almost 2 years, has it, like, of back and forth with the UFC?
I left the cage after the Abdullah fight, and I had, boom, missed call, and I get off my manager, boom, they want to take it. So they were watching me and they liked my fighting style, and they wanted to bring me in. And even now, after this has all happened, like, they still want me there, but they want me to get in and go at my weight division. They said, get him another quick turnaround fight and just let me see him composed. So I know, right now, I know my current situation with the UFC. I know what's happening. I know exactly what I need to do. And, you know, it's not down for me to constantly fucking tell people anymore and, like, try and prove myself to people. Like, I could tell you right now, if you sat there and got the first 5 fights up of every Irish fighter, every single one, male and female, look at the records of the people, everyone has fought. But for some reason, people think that they have a free pass with me, that they can say what they want. Like, oh, he hasn't fought anyone. The fella I fought was 7-1. I knocked him out. I signed the fight in 8-1. The following fight after that, and I got injured. I signed to fight whoever they give me. And so you can get, if you want to actually get into it, get the people up here. Every Irish fighter, I'm telling you. Look, I've done it. I've checked them. They're all. I've had better records than the majority of them. So, like, it's very easy to point the finger and say these things, but let's get the records up of them all, who are doing very well now. So it's a lot of it stems down to just people being jealous and bitter and saying, look, why didn't I get in? Like, yeah, I got in. So what?
Was that something that, like, affected you coming into the fight? Because, you know, we did obviously the Zoom. I know there weren't many people on it, but there was, you know, a bit of back and forth, and everyone hears it on the scene. You know, and you've heard it. He doesn't deserve to be there. There's, you know, other people deserve to be there, and all it is. And then as well afterwards, you had, you know, someone saying, oh, he let the people down and everything, which you've probably heard me saying. I thought that was way off the mark altogether. Was that, especially coming up to the fight, was that something that you can heard and really affected you?
Sean, I had to deal with the pressure all week of everything going on. This fight almost to me felt like this was me having to prove to everyone why I'm there. All I had to do was answer questions on trying to reassure people why I'm there. And it was only Irish people. It was only Irish media that had to. No one else was asking me that. All the other medias around the world, it was nothing but support. I was getting nothing but support from it. Like, well done, congratulations. There were lovely headlines. Irish media all week. How is Dean Barry answering to the criticism? Dean Barry doesn't care about haters. How is Dean coping with all the hate? Is Dean Barry ready? Dean Barry called in too early. Man, all the headlines from Irish MMA media, not once was it, let's go Dean, like nothing but support, but everyone else was support, like Irish kickboxing world champion ready to make his debut. But the Irish media, it was like a fucking clickbait thing. And I feel a lot of them have a lot to answer for. They turned it into something that it wasn't. They all created this narrative that, you know, I don't belong there. I need to answer why I'm there. And every fucking conversation I've had became that. And I got Andy asked me to jump on a live. I'm about to go train in the PI and start weight cutting. And he said, Jackson's on, jump in, have a little chat. Jumped in, had a little friendly chat with him. I was nice enough to go out my way and say, yeah, look, I'll jump on real quick. I'm in a hurry, but I'll try to jump on, because I always try to do the media and I was trying to push the Irish MMA for people. And I jumped in and I sat there for about 20 minutes getting abused and fucking trying to tell these people, trying to justify myself on why I should be there. And I actually left that in fucking horrible form. I went to the PI and I'm sitting there in my head going, I don't deserve this. Like, look at these all, like, they're all badmouthing me and tell me how you got to the UFC, haha, and all this shit, bro. And I'm about to go out and represent the country. And I went to the PI and I was in the horrible form. I was sparring and I was just trying to kill me training partner, and I was just all over the place. And even he was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, nothing, I don't want to talk about it. Like, and I felt like it became a thing that I just had to fucking constantly prove to my people why I'm here. Like, fighting is fighting. I'm representing my country since I'm 12 years old, Sean, and I have won every world title you could think of in kickboxing for them. And I've made my country prouder. I've always flown the flag respectively and done everything I can. I've helped kids. Even now to this day, I'm always helping people with sponsors, gear, help management, everything. I always try and help people. So I've never experienced something like that in my life, where people kind of think they get a free pass to say this thing just because I'm a nice fella, like I don't say it in back or whatever. But it's gotten a bit much now, like, and to see how people reacted and laughing at me, and you know, there's a lot of two-faced fuckers out there all texting me leading up to the fight. Oh, Dean, like, just getting info off me. Then they're writing smart, like, slanderous stuff about me online, and I'm just like, you know, what are you doing? And the fight was a turning point in my life for a lot of reasons now, you know, like, it really, I grew from it, let's say.
Why do you think it was? Like, why did you think the reaction before the fight was like that? What, like, was it because you're not part of, like, look, there's probably a branch of people like the Cage Warriors scene, the guys coming up through there, or the, you know, the SBG crew, obviously they have great support, and you didn't maybe fit into either of those. Do you think that was the reason?
That's it. Yes, of course. And because I was the little points fighter, the karate guy who came over and got to the UFC in 4 fights, do you not think any of them would be chomping off the feet to get there where I am? And instead of being dickheads about it, they could have looked to me and said, "Look how he got there. This is amazing. Like, let's I can get there now. Look, Dean did it." I show people you don't have to go and take these stupid fights constantly, and like, Cage Warriors is full of savages as well. The guys going out there thumping the head off each other for a few £100, and they're the fights you need to do when you get there, like when you make money for them. Like, I'm not a tick. I have 2 kids. I'm not going to go out on these shows and fight 10-0s, 11-0s and get punched around for pennies and lose brain cells. And if you lose that fight, boom, back to the very bottom of the queue again. I did it the right way. I went out, I took the right fights, and I went out and I put on a good performance against everyone. Like, the only loss I have is against Pretty Boy. At the time, people need to remember, he had 8 fights. He was my third opponent changed that week, and I couldn't say no because I didn't want to let anyone down that I sold tickets for. I was doing MMA a few months, never did jiu-jitsu. I've done about 5 jiu-jitsu classes in my life. I backed at him in the cage, but then he took me down. I didn't know what to do. So people are going on as if, oh, I'm shit, I didn't deserve this and all. Like, I'm a very good fighter. I am. I'm not. I'll say it now. Like, and like, any fight I've been in, you've seen what I can do. Like, so I don't understand it all. So, to be honest with you, it just stems down to jealousy. Like, that's all it is.
When you look back, say, on fight week and even before that, is it a thing you kind of regret, not in terms of like not seeing it and everything, but letting it affect you maybe? And do you think it affects you coming into the fight as well? Like, in the actual fight? Like, look,
I have an honest conversation with you now. I suffered for many years with my mental health, like many of years, and anyone who knows me knows, I have like severe ADHD. Like, I'm so impulsive, you have no idea. Like, I've had it my whole life, been on medication for it and everything. And when I see comments like that, it fucking hurts me, like, it upsets me, and I'm so impulsive that I let it get to me, and I get wound up, and I'm like, why are these people talking about me like this? I'm just a normal fella. I don't say that to anyone. I just stick to myself, bro. My father, like, I'm just trying to go out there and earn a living for my kids. And not only that, but I went out to that UFC debut, and I was trying to represent Ireland. I was trying to push for Irish people. Even all week, I was focused on helping other Irish people. Like, oh, I'd love to see Irish here and all, instead of just focusing on me. And it came back to bite me in the end. Like, and like, see that fight. You can ask Andy the same. Ask Andy, he'll tell you. I didn't even bother talk about it because there would have been no point, and people would have just been saying whatever. That fight, before that fight, I have the photos with the date and everything. I can send it to you. I got a really bad injury in the gym. Really bad injury. Like, one where I couldn't take any punches to the head. Couldn't even grapple properly. Like, it was bad. That was at the start of March. I think end of February, start of March. I have the picture with the date on it. I was bleeding from the inside of my head and all. Blood coming down from the inside. Like, I had to go to the hospital and everything over it. I did 1 sparring session for that whole fight with Miles at the end, and it was tip-tap sparring because I couldn't get punched, and I was so fucking paranoid about taking a punch as well during it. All I could do was the odd little kickboxing class and the odd set of pad work if I even did that. That whole fight camp was me lifting weights and lifting just heavy weights and running. That's it. That's all I could do. And I probably shouldn't have took the fight, but I just didn't want to let people down again, or didn't want to lose the opportunity if they said, "Oh, look, fuck this," you know what I mean? So I shouldn't have went into that fight, and you could even see it in my physique. I wasn't in shape. I was fat. I was walking around at 175 pounds of just heaviness, like real bulky, blocky. I had no cardio. I had no nothing. So like it all played into the fact that like when I'm fit and in shape, man, I glide around the cage, and cardio's never been an issue for me. Like in my life, I'm always flying. Like I barely take a deep breath. And so that I had a bad injury before that. And Andy'll even tell you, like I could do nothing, bro. And even doing the rounds the week out from the fight in the PI, I was like, Jesus Christ, I could just feel it. And that led to me making sloppy mistakes. Like I'm a very clean fighter. It led to me like couldn't even feel my finger in his eye. All I could think of was, he's done. I have him. And I tried to push him off to finish him, and he just went, ah. And I was like, what? I didn't know what happened. I thought he like pulled the bleeding muscle or something. And so look, it is what it is. But like, that's something that I had to deal with, and my head just wasn't in it, bro. I was going through a lot of personal shit in my life, and as I said, all that stuff affected me. And I know people say you need thick skin in this sport and all. Why though? Like, why do you people think they can just say what they fucking want just because we're fighters? Like, and a lot of it is Irish people, man. A lot of it is Irish people, and I will say that now. The majority of the abuse I got was Irish people. The odd fake account, but reading some of the stuff that people were writing about me, like even them Irish journalists and all, like they do the media, they even talk to me, they're writing just such cheeky shit about me, like why is he even there? I'm still questioning why he's there and all. I'm there because they called me up, and I'm there because I can fight. That's why I'm there. Yeah. Like if that had been me at 155, it would have been a totally different fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we kind of I mentioned that as well. I know a few other people, they just like, you're given the opportunity. What are you supposed to do? Not take it? And I think look, it was the same for Reece McKee, and other people have been in the same situation. They took the opportunity and they got it, and fair play to you. Just I want to ask you about the fight again. Like, it's funny, a lot of people, I come on every week and I analyse the fights and different things, and I very rarely actually, even if I say a fighter had a bad performance, something, hear from a fighter and they say, what the fuck are you talking about, or whatever, because they know. Like the fighter, like let's say Rosanna Muniz last week, she'll go back and watch that fight and she'll know it's a bad performance. Like, you just said it there. You went back and you know it's a bad performance. Like whether, I think the difference between, say, yourself watching it or myself or other people watching it, we don't know the injury coming in. We don't, we might know a little bit about the weight class, but we don't know a lot of things that have gone on behind. When you go back and have watched that fight, forget about the eye poke for a second, but the performance itself, I assume it's something you're kind of like, oh God, I can't, you kind of already said there, I probably shouldn't have taken the fight, but is it one you kind of look back and that performance is something that really irks you because that's not the real you? Yeah,
bro, like, never in my life have I bit down on the gum shield and swung an overhand right and missed. Watch all of my fights before, Mike. I never miss a single punch. I never throw anything unless I'm certain I'm going to hit you. Ever. And I'm so good at drawing people into that false distance and just picking them off. And that's my game. With this fella, he just stood there like this, and then I was like, right, well, this fucker's not engaged in the fight. I need to make the fight happen. And I just went ham, and I was emotional when I got in there. I got in the cage, and I felt almost like I could feel everything from the last 2 years that went on, and all the shit people were saying. And I swear to God, it really played on me in the cage. I was like, if I don't knock him out, it doesn't count. If I don't knock him out, and like, I let it all affect me, bro. And I was going out, and I was just trying to kill him, and I was like angry, and I felt like really fucking emotionally angry. Like I can't explain it. I'm usually so calm, and everything gets to you, bro. Like I'm a fucking human being, like, and seeing that shit, like, I'm like, even just after the fight, like some of the stuff people were saying about me kids and all that, people saying they hope my kid has no daddy, I dropped dead, and I'm gonna rape your son while your missus watches, all this disgusting shit. And that's why I deactivated me media, because I was like, I don't need to read that shit. Like I know who I am. Like I know, like, it wasn't the best performance, but like how dare people think they can say that about somebody? Like, and then if you don't want to, if it upsets you, like, oh, this fella's a pussy. Do you know what I mean? I'm a fucking human being, bro.
Yeah. Like MMA is like that. I've been around it for a long time, and I know, you said you have to grow thick skin. There's almost no way around it. I think it's just there's some lovely people. The best people in the world are involved in MMA, but then there's some just horrible people altogether that go after you for.
I'll tell you now, I'm not just saying this, man. I've been around the world. been around the world. I've trained in the best gyms in the world. I've done it all with kickboxing. I've travelled the whole world, man. Even in MMA, I've been around the world. The Irish scene is one of the most toxic places I've ever come across. But anyone that knows me, that actually knows me and talks to me, they know I'm a nice fella. They know, like, I get on great with all of them. Like, I get on great with loads of the SBG lads. I could chat with them. I've helped a few of them before as well with things. Like, I get on well with people. Then the ones who don't know me, they're just reading into this fucking bullshit, and they're making a judgment off me when they don't actually know me. Do you know what I mean? And I have to say, it's a toxic scene to be around. Like, right now, I've hit that stage, bro. I couldn't give a fuck about anyone now. Where if you're not from my gym or whatever, like, if I don't know you, I don't give a shit about you. That's the way it is now, you know. Like, all that niceness of me is like, that's gone now, you know.
I kind of like that, to be honest. Like, I've listened to your interviews you've done with Andy and some of the other lads before, and it's always been good, and you've always said nice stuff and stuff. I feel like this one, though, you're being real, and that's what people want. I think people will listen to this and they'll hear what you have to say, and I think they'll be more on your side maybe than they were before. But do you think you kind of got drawn into that too? Like, it's like, and like, how could you not get drawn into it? I suppose, you know, you want to be the next guy, you want to lift Irish people up, you want to say the right things, I suppose, which is, it's a thing that's great, but also MMA fans have heard it so many times. Even if you fully believe it, MMA fans are like, well, he's just saying the same thing as Conor, or he's saying the same things as James, or he's saying the same thing as Ian Gary or whatever. Did you feel some of that too?
Yeah, I just wanted to be me at the end of the day, and like, I wanted to be like, I want to be like a good positive impact on like the sport, because there's so many fucking shitheads in it. I wanted to be a nice positive role model. I wanted to, and not only that, man, I just wanted my kids to, because everything you do is online. I want my kids, when they look back and say, like, look how my dad handled himself, I want to just be just like my dad. And that was my main thing in my life. But it almost went against me, as in people take your kindness for weakness, and they think I'm some idiot or something. Like, yeah, I'm very nice and respectful, bro. I'm nice with anybody. Like, if you're nice to me, bro, 10 times nicer back to you. But if you get me wrong, I have a bad side as well. Like, I have a very bad side to me. Like, and that's going to start coming out now. Like, I'm like, and that needs to come out of me, because right now, people think they can just say what they want and walk all over me as if I'm some fucking tick. But I'm not. And I'm going to go out and show that. That's why I'm jumping back in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to go out and just fucking butcher someone. And that's just like everything in me. I'm so fired up after this. I'm so sick of all the people saying shit. And watch now. The same thing happened. Remember, I said the UFC will sign me if I get one more win. They said they'll bring me straight in. Everyone's slagging me. Oh, load of bollocks, liar. Then they bring me straight in. Not peep out people. It's the same situation right now. But I'm not talking about it because I don't need it anymore. I don't need validation from people. I mean, nothing in my life anymore. Right now, I'm just focused on going out and performing and providing for my family, bro. And that's going out and just winning, you know.
Let's talk about the eye poke, because I assume you've heard what I've had to say about it, and I'm, you know, not just because you're on here with me, but I'm very much on the side of it. Look, it should have been no contest. I think we can all see the footage. It went into Mike Jackson's eye. He was hurt, and I think that was fair enough. I don't think in any way, shape or form you meant it. Like, I think it's clear if people have listened to my breakdown of it, and I get yours, but what I thought is you had the hand around the back of his neck, he moved in that direction, and you moved to push off him, and you had your hand in like a claw area, and when you pushed, it went into his eye. That's the way I saw it, watching it afterwards, slowing it down. And I think, and before I show it off to you, I think the reason you were disqualified in that fight, and I'm on the side of the referees and the judges, and more than anyone probably in the media, is because of what happened a couple of weeks beforehand. There was 2 or 3 different incidents where there was no contest. The fight in the third round, they went to the cards and stuff, and there was a lot of furore about it. The judges were hearing about it. The referees obviously were hearing about it, and I think that decision was made because of what happened before, and not because of what happened in the fight. And I think it was the wrong decision. What did you think, looking back, and obviously being the biggest part of it?
Yeah, like I 100% agree with you. Like, first I'll just talk about the eye poke situation. I went into a kill mode there. I had him against the fence. I was teeing off on him. I was hitting him, jumping knees and all. I just saw red. I was like, I'm finishing him. I'm getting him out of here, because I felt so out. It was such an out of body experience for me. I never felt so out of my own skin than I did in that fight. I felt like I was fucking just looking down, watching myself, man. It's a surreal experience. Until you're in there, you won't understand. I never had it. I let the anxiety and the like stress of everything get to me, and when I got in the cage, I just wanted to murder him. So I thought I had him rocked, boom, 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 and grabbed onto me, and I grabbed him to clinch because I was like, I'm finishing him here, and I was going to push him off me to knock him out. And as I was doing it, I kind of like tried to frame off this way, but I couldn't even for the life of me see my fingers near his eyes because I was trying to push him back to hit him with my right hand. And if you watch the fight, I tried to push his head back because he's a lot taller than me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm pushing up. And then I couldn't even feel it. Like, I know his eyes are wet, but in the heat of the moment in the fight, you can't feel it. And the thing people saying, you deliberately done it, and I'm like, why the fuck would I deliberately poke someone in the eye that's about to knock out on my UFC debut, who on my worst night, that was the worst night in my life, I was still piecing them up. Rightly so, like that's what I should have been doing from the very start. Like, anyway, like, it's Mike Jackson. But I'm like, I was about to finish the man. Why would I stick my fingers in his eye? Even the spinning kick, it was an accident. He's way taller than me. I threw a kick, carrying that extra 7. I'm carrying an extra 7 kilos than I usually would in a fight. That's a massive amount, and it was 7 kilos of fat. It wasn't muscle, so it makes a massive difference. And my legs felt so heavy, so that kick was low. It was an accident. But backstage, the ref had said to us, we were chatting over the rules and all, and he kept going on about eye pokes. He kept talking to me and Andy and Rob about it, and my brother Shane, and he was like, so strict on it. He was basically saying he'd come down hard with eye pokes. He was like talking about doing like this or this. I can't remember what the fuck he was saying, but he was very strict on it backstage. And cause obviously with the shit that was going on in the last few fights. But then when Mike, the doctor said to Mike, yeah, he's okay, he can continue, and Mike literally goes, I don't want to fight this guy anymore. Said them exact words. And I'm like, fuck. And I asked the ref, I'm like, what? I was like, what's that? Like, what's happening? And he goes, you're going to see now in a sec what's happening. Then I looked at Andy and I was like, what does he mean? I was like, that's a no contest. Like, he's choosing not to continue to fight. Like, and I was like, it'd be different if I went up to him and Captain Insane on him and went, wow, or something. Do you know what I mean? And fucking, Waterboy, like, poked him in the eye. But man, I was finishing him and I pushed him off to finish him. I didn't intentionally, like, if it was a close fight and I'd done that, then you'd say, okay, look. But even so, you would, like, it doesn't look like I'm trying to deliberately poke him in the eye, and you get all the bleeding shite bags online saying things. But look, he came down hard on it, and I think he used me as an example. And look, it's just such an unfortunate experience, and I had to just do it, man. It is what it is, isn't it? I had to take me licks and just get on. We're walking backstage, and Mike's walking out laughing and high-fiving everybody, and there's nothing wrong with him. I'm like, you piece of shit. All week he's like a little bitch, man, talking to me, like shaking and all, like all nervous and all. And then to see him go online and act a little gangster is what irritated me the most, like slagging me when they release me, and as if it's some fucking jokes, you know what I mean? Like, and like the shit really affected me, bro. Like, I had to get counselling and everything after. Like, I was in a really bad place. Like, I'm a young man, I just reached the pinnacle of the sport so quick. And to have it taken away from me like that, and now I'm after the journey I had to get there, man, travelled the world, and then spent my life savings on the visa and all, and then now I have to do it again. Now I have to climb up again. I have another baby on the way. Like, people don't realise that. Like, we're fucking human beings, man. I have shit going on. Like, and yeah, it affected me. It was a weird one, yeah.
That was one of the, and also, like, just before we move on from the eye poke, I think, like, when people need to get the rules in their, in their mind as well, it's like, if you're fighting and if you're standing in your stance and you have your hands straight out and you catch someone in the eye, I've no problem with someone calling that a disqualification, because you're not supposed to stand. You're supposed to have your hands either up or in a fist. That wasn't a situation with you at all. So if anyone is just thinking about that, just to clear that up. You spoke about the reaction afterwards as well. We have already spoke about the abuse or whatever it might have been beforehand. For you, like, I kind of sat back and I looked at it, and having looked at the fighter A versus fighter B with the eye poke, I think you came out on the right side of it. He did get eye poked as well, so I thought that was fair enough. But the fact that the reaction afterwards was so like, oh, he deserves it, thank God the referees are finally calling these and everything, without looking at the actual incident, from some of the biggest names in the sport and everything. How did you feel like being, as you said there, the word human being, you were the human being behind all of that, and it felt like you were the forgotten piece in this incident that happened? How did that kind of make you feel, seeing all of that?
Felt horrible. And then you're seeing Irish fighters liking it, like seeing Irish fighters in the UFC and all liking all the stuff about me getting disqualified and me getting released and all. They're all being sent to me. Like there's a lot of people sending me like fucking Ian Gary liking everything about Dean Barry release, and I'm like what you doing? Like it's like I'm an Irish man, you know what I mean? Like they're all laughing as if the fight got turned into a bleeding joke nearly. Like, if I had went out there, it would have been a completely different fight with someone good at 155. Do you know what I mean? Had to fight a tick who played it up. He's on the ground talking about his nuts and all like a fucking idiot. And man, it was hard to watch. Like, it was hard to watch it. I'm getting tagged constantly. People texting me, threatening me, fucking people texting me, laughing at me, saying they're so happy I'm released and all, man. And it's hard, bro. And you're walking down the street and there's people, like, I didn't even want to leave my house for a while. I go to my local gym because the first thing people say to you is, so what? I seen you got released there. And I'm like you entitled little prick. Like, who are you even talking about that? Like, imagine me walking to you, I heard you got sacked. Do you know what I mean? Starting a conversation off like that as if I'm going to, like, and I'm already on the edge and I'm like, get the, motherfucker, get away from me. Like, it's not, like, don't start a conversation with me like that. And it was fucking hard, bro. Like, it's hard. Like, I was supposed to be on a holiday there with my girlfriend. I just didn't go because I'm just right now I'm just dieting, I'm training. Like, I haven't thought since I got home. I've been on a strict diet. I look totally different than I did in Vegas a few weeks ago. I'm at the slimming right up, and like I'm working with a nutritionist and strength and conditioning coach, and yeah, I just want to get back out there and just prove it to myself. I don't give a shit about what anyone else says. Like, and watch, bro. I'll go out here and put on a bleeding world class performance, and it'll all be like sharing there and talking about it again and all. It's just toxic.
How did you get? And the last couple of things I really appreciate the time. You've been fantastic.
Talk away, bro. Like, I'm not in a rush.
How did you get the call of the release? Because a lot of people, I think a lot of people are kind of saying, "Oh, look, you might get released because of the fighting factors." Mike Jackson. I think a lot of people also kind of said, like, look, give him another chance. He came in there, was a weight class above. It ended the way it ended. As you kind of said yourself, you were out of shape. It wasn't that. How did you actually get the call? And were you shocked by the call when it came, or were you half expecting it?
So after I like text my manager after the fight, and like we were talking about it, and like he even said, he was like, you were just wild, like, and just as I said, everything that led up to that fight, of everything that happened to me, that explains why I was the way I was. But he said, let me talk to Sean. I just need to let him cool off a bit because I know they were furious about like Mike still being around, So I knew I was going to be on the short end of the stick, but I kind of knew what was coming because the contract was I had to win. I had to basically win that fight, and although I was still like styling on him and it was still sloppy on my end, like it wasn't a good performance for me, but I was still baiting him. But I had to win, and it technically didn't go down as a win. And they had said previously that if that fight didn't go the way it was supposed to go, that I would need to get outside and get another win or two. They said one, possibly two. So I knew what was going to happen. But then my manager called me, and I was out with my brother, and I just broke down, bro. I just was like, fuck us. Like when you lose, you get paid only half your purse, then they tax that. Then I'm paying for flights for everyone. I made fucking nothing. Like, and I just broke down. I was like, I have another kid on the way. Like, I was like, what am I going to do, man? I just put my whole heart and soul into this, and it's just gone without me even actually getting a chance, Like, so it was very hard for me to deal with. Like, it was very, very, very hard. I'm still kind of just coming around. I'm only starting to come around now. But look, I had to just, what can you say, really? You have to just accept it, and then I was embarrassed mostly. I was embarrassed. I was so worried about what everyone was going to say. Then when I seen it got released online, man, I fucking having panic attacks again, and I was just like, as I said, like, I just suffer with my mental health, like, and seeing all that stuff, and then seeing how people were like laughing about me and all, and it was just very hard, very hard.
Did you see online your release before you knew yourself, or?
No, he rang me.
I rang.
And then the next day, I got the release papers, and like that spot. That's it's a weird one. Like what I don't understand is they're saying, just get another win, go down to your weight class, and go out and just show us again what you can do, and we'd love to have you straight back in. So you never know. I could be back in there by August. I could be in there by July, August. They were talking about contender series, and then they just said, just tell them just to go out and get another win or two, and not even have to do that. But I could be back in there in August or September. You see the same bollocks from people, but it's a weird one, because I was like, well, why release me if I've done all the USADA stuff, I've done all the paperwork, I've went through everything, I've travelled the world here for you, I've got the visa on my own, I've done it all. why release me for a couple of months to see me get a win, to take me straight back in? I was like, it makes no sense, but that's something I just didn't even bother talk with people about, because like, I know what's going to happen, but I don't need to fucking explain it to people, because the last time they all thought was that accused me of being liar and all this crap. I'm 29 years of age. What would I have to lie about to a bunch of strangers? You know what I mean?
The last thing, so I suppose, moving forward, what you said you have a fight booked, obviously put it on Instagram as well. Have you any details about that, like when it's going to be? Have you any opponent or where it's going to be?
I'm fighting on the 3rd of June on Titan, so they're currently getting me somebody now, so but I'm 100% fighting there, so I'm getting a quick turnaround and going straight to Florida. So they have a card in June, then they have a card again at the start of July, so all depending if I do need another fight, I'll go there, but you know, I could just go out here and get another good win, Sean, and get a call back in. Do you know what I mean? So, just about going out and proving that, look, I can make the 155, I can fight, like. So
yeah, and I think I said it afterwards. I'd love to see you go on and run. You know, I think if you could use this as a positive, and you know, stick it to all the fucking people who are hating on you, and use it to get back to the UFC and get a good career going.
Do you know what?
All the way,
I did. That's what it is. Like, it's like, you know, the amount of shit I had to deal with the last since January, the amount of shit I've had to deal on a daily basis of constantly people saying, why you there? And then people like making sly remarks behind their back and all. I had to deal with it all. And then to finally go out and fight, and then like deal with all that pressure and all. And then as weird as it sounds, it's almost like when I got the release papers, as much as I was like heartbroken, there was almost like this weight lifted off my shoulders. I was like, oh, these people, I don't have to deal with this anymore. But then I was like, right, let's go now. Get the fuck back in. Get your weight together. Because like I've been very bad with my weight since last year. Like hadn't had to fight at 55, so I'm very bad with it. Like I was eating, even the night before the weigh-ins, I was eating giant burgers and chips and all, and ice cream, and I only had a pound to cut, 2 pounds I think I cut, and like that says it all. And like how you're feeling, do you know what I mean? And I was doing that fight, and I was depressed, we could say, do you know what I mean? I was going through fucking a lot, man, and I went out to that fight. You could see it in me. You could even see it in my face when I'm walking out. I just wasn't fired up. I didn't want to be there. I was just feeling fucking horrible. I was getting it from all angles, and you know, I just wanted to be at home with my son, and I was like, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. Like, I can't deal with it. And then after everything happened, it just lit a fire in me, bro. And being with my family and being with people who care about me and all. So I'm in a good place now. My head's in a good place. I'm ready to rock. I took a nice break, and yeah, been dieting, in good shape now. Everything's good. So I'm looking forward to getting out. And what comes, bro, you know. If I get the call again after this win, I get the call again, and yes, I will go back in, and everyone can fuck off if they say anything. But other than that, bro, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'll go out and fight, and I'll still hold my head high, and that's it. Because I'm a very good fighter. People, like, anyone who even spars with me knows I'm a very good fighter, and like, I always get the win when I need it. And I know if that fight I fucked up, but it's about reminding people. Do you know what I mean?
Indeed. Dean, I appreciate the time, and I think I speak for a lot of people. I'd love to see you getting back in there, getting a lot of wins, and getting back to the UFC and doing very well, because I think it was a little bit unfair what happened to you and the way it went down. So I appreciate the time. Thanks very much for joining me. We'll speak again on Sherdog.com. Thanks, Dean.
No worries, but I'll talk to you later.